folks. Welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Emily. I'm the registered dietitian here at Harvest Market, and I am back with another recipe for this week. We have a chicken and broccoli pasta bake. This one's so good. I don't know about you, but in January, February, March, I really like to lean into just comforting, cozy, warm food. And it's just so gray and cold. So this is a great one for these winter months. And it does require a little bit more equipment on your part than a typical meal kit would. But believe me, it's worth it. And active cook time is not long. So again, active cook time is the actual portion of you cooking, and then inactive cook time is when it's just, cooking in the oven or something. So anyway, the majority of this dish is cooked in the oven. So while that is going, you can be cleaning up, getting the table set, whatever. So anyway, active cook time in this isn't too long, even though the dish takes about 40 to 45 minutes, just depending. So first things first, what do you need in order to whip this together? So you're gonna need a pot of boiling water, which I have going right here. I have just a ton of water in here. I like to put the lid on and let it boil because I don't want all the water to escape. I've got I'm getting a steam bath. It's good for my skin. It needs that hydration in these winter months. So I have my cutting board, I have a knife just in case. I'm making a 2-person, so I have an 8x8 oven-safe baking dish. If you are doing a 4-person, you're gonna do a 9x13. I've got some cooking spray to coat that. You're gonna need a blender, Ninja, immersion blender, food processor, something to blend up the cottage cheese and the milk mixture. So I have my trusty immersion blender that I love. It's fantastic. It doesn't take up a lot of real estate in your kitchen. You can use it for a bajillion things. Love it. One of my favorite tools. I have a box grater, a mixing bowl. You're gonna need some foil because we're gonna cover the pasta in the baking dish, the first portion of cooking. Okay, let's get rolling. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna boil the pasta and the broccoli together. So we're gonna par cook these together, and because we're gonna be baking this in the oven, and so we just want to par cook them, so partially cook, because they're gonna finish cooking in the oven. That way we still have a really nice al dente noodle, so it's not gonna be mushy or overcooked, and same with the broccoli, because you want a little bit of texture, right? You don't want it to be completely mush. So I'm actually just using my hands to break apart the broccoli. You can use a knife, that's fine. And I'm just breaking it into small pieces. So please don't discard the stems here. These are totally edible, and you don't wanna waste food. So just break those up into small pieces. If you have picky folks in your house that aren't fans of vegetables, you might wanna go even tinier on the broccoli so that it's more difficult to pick out and notice. But I just like to do a nice kind of bite size. So again, think about what it's going in. It's going in a pasta dish. You're gonna mix this all together. So you don't want ginormous chunks, just nice little bite size. Okay, so again, you want your pot boiling before you get this started. You want to preheat your oven to 400. Okay, so broccoli is ready. I'm gonna actually put this all back in the bowl, so then we can just dump it. Beautiful. Okay. Boiling water here, you can't see it, but as she's a rolling and a bowling. Okay, so we're gonna add the broccoli in, add the pasta in, beautiful. I'm gonna grab a little wooden spatula here, and we're just gonna kind of stir this together. Okay, the broccoli is gonna float to the top, pasta is gonna sink to the bottom. Because you're adding stuff to the pot, the temperature is going to decrease. So once you're at a boil again, you wanna start your timer, and you're gonna time that for 5 minutes, but don't start that until we're at a boil again, okay? So once that gets going, I'm gonna start a timer. I have one over here. I'm using my phone, so I can't use my phone as a timer. But I have a timer going over here. Beautiful. Okay, so again, start that timer once we're at a boil. In the meantime, we're gonna shred our cheese. So the best way to get melty ooey gooey cheese is to really shred it yourself. And in one, so you have half of your cheese is shredded for you, the other half you have to shred. But it's totally worth it, I promise. We're gonna have a white cheddar that's shredded. That's mixed with the Pecorino Romano. Really beautiful, just punch of flavor, okay? And then we have white cheddar and yellow cheddar. I like the mildness and the sharpness, and it just creates a really nice ooey gooey bake. Okay, so then we're just gonna grate this. Mind your fingers and your knuckles. So I just kind of like to do as much as I can. I think of that 5-minute timer as like, okay, I'm gonna get everything else done for this dish, so by the time that's done, we are ready to roll and put this in the oven. Okay, if you have kind of some bigger pieces that didn't get shredded, simply crumble those up with your fingers if you can. Or you're just gonna have a big old chunk of cheese in there, and what's wrong with that? Okay, so I'm just gonna add this all to kind of one bowl, and we're gonna come back to this. You guys, is it weird that I love the smell of broccoli? Is that bizarre? I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, gonna give that a little stir. We're almost to a boil. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is the blending portion. So yes, we have cottage cheese in this dish, and it's lovely. It adds a richness, it adds a creamy, and cottage cheese is great. It is a great thing to add. It's loaded with protein, and it just stinking tastes good. So this is a great way to amp up the creaminess of a dish, but also still get like a good amount of protein in there as well. So this is great. I'm actually doing this no chicken. It's a great vegetarian option. You've got so much protein going on, and fiber and veg. It's lovely. The chicken is just a bonus for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna add all of that cottage cheese mix in here. So in that cottage cheese mix, what do we have? We have all of our seasonings. Okay, I'm gonna boil. I'm gonna start 5 minutes. All right. We have all of our seasonings in here. So we have garlic powder, onion powder, and Cavender's Greek seasoning. That's gonna be like our salt pepper sauce too. We have some honey mustard, which mustard is really great for pasta dishes. It kind of cuts through the richness of the cheese. It adds a little bit of acidity. It's just beautiful. I like a honey mustard in this because I like the little bit of sweetness, because we have the sharpness of the Pecorino Romano, so it just really blends beautifully in there. You can also use dry mustard. That's often used in like homemade mac and cheese or like pasta cheese dishes. And then we have a little bit of red wine vinegar, because what's a dish without vinegar, right? And then we have some whole milk. Okay, so we're just gonna add that all right in here. Lovely. So then if you're using a Ninja or a blender or a food processor, you're gonna add all of this right into that and blend it, okay? But because I have an immersion blender, I'm gonna go ahead and just do it in my bowl. So really what we're doing, we're looking to make just a really kind of creamy, beautiful sauce of sorts. So I'm just looking to blend until all of the cottage cheese is completely blended and there are no more lumps. So there's our mixture. So it's not super thick because we're gonna add a lot of cheese to this, okay? So it's not gonna be like milkshake thick. It's gonna be like really, really thick, like eggnog, I guess. Okay, add in all of your shredded cheese right in. Beautiful. So then all we have to do is wait for the pasta and the broccoli. We're gonna strain that and then add it here. Bada bing, bada boom in the oven. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. I'm using my handy dandy like big strainer thingy that I have here, and I'm just straining. It's okay if a little bit of the liquid gets in there, and I'm just straining it as I go and adding it into my pot, making sure that I get all the little noodles and broccoli pieces. Beautiful, beautiful. Almost there. I have one noodle that doesn't want to make it in. Okay, you're going, buddy. Alrighty. So everything is in here. I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to just start mixing. You guys, that smell is unbelievable. Smells so good. And I like how the it kind of starts melting the cheese already because the pasta and broccoli are nice and hot. So we're gonna take our baking dish. This is important, you gotta give it a good spray. If you don't have spray, you can just rub a little bit of oil or butter along the sides. This is really important, otherwise it's gonna stick. And we do not want that because that is a pain in the hiney to clean. Okay, so now we're just gonna dump this all in. I like to use a spatula so I can get, a rubber spatula so I can get all of the goodness out. Okay, we're gonna kind of try and evenly distribute this, so not all the pasta is on one side. Okay, and this is a 2%, makes a lot. Beautiful. Okay, lovely. I just like to kind of smooth that out a little bit. Now we're gonna take our foil. We're gonna tightly cover this. And we are gonna bake it for 20 minutes at 400 until when we take it out of the oven, we're like bubbling up on the sides, okay? That's really key. So everybody's oven is calibrated differently. Just because you set it at 400 doesn't mean it's really there. It could be 425 or 350, unless you have an oven thermometer. So don't necessarily go by time. Time is a guide, so check at 20 minutes. Again, you should be bubbling at 20 minutes. So we'll come back and we'll check that. I'm gonna pop this in the oven and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I just pulled her out and she's bubbling up along the sides, which is exactly what I want. I did the original 20 minutes, and when I pulled it out, it wasn't bubbling like I like. So I just did it a few more minutes, no big deal. So empty your panko mix then into a small dish, and then we're gonna add the olive oil that goes with the panko, and then we're just gonna kind of mix it with our hands, making sure that everything is nice and coated. Oh my gosh, this smells so good, you guys. Okay. And then we're just going to sprinkle this on, just like this. And we're gonna put this back in the oven for another 10 minutes or so until it's nice and browned. Again, time is just a guide. You gotta go by the look of it. So if it looks like it needs a little bit more brown, just keep it in for a few extra minutes. Boom. Beautiful. So again, put this back in the oven, 10-15 minutes, cover off so that the panko can get nice and browned, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, I just pulled her out, and she's gorgeous. Bubbly, beautiful, browned on the top, so we have that nice browning on our panko crust. She's still bubbling along the sides there. So I like to let this sit for at least 5 minutes before serving up, if you can wait that long, but like 10 minutes is even better. Not only is it piping hot, but it's gonna kind of like set up a little bit more, because this is gonna be really creamy and beautiful and cheesy and delicious. So let it sit. If you can wait that long, it's gonna be piping hot, so please be careful. But enjoy it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I can't wait for you guys to dig into this. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you all next time.